Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a smart lock. Now, this smart lock is made by AKAGear. A good while ago, we did a review on a smart lock from AKAGear. It went on to my workshop, and I'm still using it today. It's been a fantastic lock. AKAGear reached out to me, and they asked if I would take a look at one of their newer locks and see if I would share it with you guys, and that's what we're going to do today. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is right out of the box is every part and piece that you're going to need to install this lock. You're really not going to need anything else other than maybe a screwdriver. You can also buy this lock in two different configurations. You can buy it with a fingerprint option or without a fingerprint option. This does have the fingerprint option. And I want to just very quickly discuss some of the features before we install this lock so that you know what it can do and how it's going to operate. The first thing I'm sure you've already noticed is it does have a keypad on the front. I believe that is a touch capacitance keypad. They're not physical buttons. It senses when your finger touches the numbers, so that means nothing's going to wear out. Obviously, this means you can operate the lock with a code, but you can also operate the lock with a fingerprint. And another way this will operate is with these keychains. These keychains are NFC tags. Basically, you just touch them to the face of the lock and it'll unlock. So another way that you can access the lock. And if all else fails, you can use keys to access the lock as well. So there's many ways to open and close this lock, and I bet you can probably even unlock it from the app. We're going to find out in a little bit. The lock does operate on batteries. These are AA batteries. A quick tip for me is I suggest you go ahead and buy really good lithium batteries. That way they don't ever corrode inside this device, and lithium batteries last a little bit longer anyhow. The manufacturer has made installation incredibly simple. There are templates in case you're going to need those. I don't think we'll need any templates. We're just replacing an existing lock. All of the hardware, the screws and bolts, come in labeled bags, and you can see they're labeled very clearly. You have no question about which screw goes where. And also there's a detailed installation manual. Also included after you install it is an operation manual. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is remove the old lock, the old deadbolt, whatever you have. Now, removing that lock is going to vary based on the type of lock that you have, but typically they're just a couple of screws on the inside, and then there's a couple of screws out here that hold the latch. Everything after that just kind of comes apart. The next thing that we need to do is install the latch itself, and it comes with a latch that is adjustable because there are two different configurations that are normally used. Now, collapsed, it is 2 3/8 inches long, but we need a 2 3/4 inch long. So to make it longer, you just rotate it like that, and now it's going to be perfect for our door. Then the next thing you're going to want to pay attention to is there is an up marked right here on the side. So that means when you put this into the door, that needs to be up. Installing it is very simple. You just put it in place, and using the provided screws, you just screw it into place. We're going to take the outside part of the lock and put it in place. Now there is a little nub right here on the top of this bar, and that little nub goes on top. It basically only fits one way into the mechanism that's on the door. Let's go ahead and stick that in place. Now we need to come to the inside of the door and mount the inside hardware. The inside hardware consists of this plate. This plate gets bolted in place first. This hole right here is where this cable goes into, so you want to make sure you follow those directions. Put it in just like that. Put the plate where it belongs, and then using the screws provided, we're going to tighten everything up. So it takes 2 screws. These get a little finicky. You have to kind of feel around to get them started. Obviously the other screw goes on the other side. We'll tighten these down and go on to the next step. We're going to take this plug and plug it right into the only place that it can plug into on the back of the inside lock mechanism. And now we're going to line up the lock mechanism so that they line up. We're going to shove the cable into the door and line that little mechanism up and put it in place. Everything lines up perfectly. And then there are 3 screws that you're going to put in here, here, and here. And once we have these screws tightened up, we're ready to put the batteries in and start programming the lock. After I put those batteries in place, it did prompt me and it said that it is ready to pair. Now let's go ahead and install the software. We're going to go to the Play Store if you have an Android, or the Apple Store if you have an Apple. I have an Android. I'm just going to search for TTLock. This is what you're looking for. We're going to go ahead and click install. After installing the software, you need to create an account. Once you create that account, you're now ready to pair the software to your phone. So it's going to make you choose the lock type. So we're going to go ahead and tell it that we are installing a door lock, and then it tells us to touch any key to activate the keypad.
Your lock is ready to pair. Pairing successful.
And it come back and it said pairing successful. So we're going to remove the name that it tried to give it, which is probably just a random name. And I'm just going to call mine shop. And now you get to pick what way your door opens. And this is very important, that way it knows what way to turn the lock when it's locked and when it's unlocked. So it'll cycle the lock a few times, and now it's going to ask you to configure the network. So at this point, you're going to be presented with this screen, and this screen does a lot of things. It allows you to configure the codes, it allows you to configure your fingerprints, it allows you to set up those RF cards, it also allows you to control the lock. So for this video, I don't think it's going to be really necessary to walk you through how to set up the fingerprints, how to set up those RFID tags, how to set up codes. All of that's pretty intuitive in the software. It's pretty easy to do if you just follow the directions, but I do want to show you how well this lock works. So I have the door propped open just so you can see the action of the lock, and currently the lock is in the lock state. I have programmed a couple of fingers to the fingerprint reader. Let's go ahead and try it and see if it works. And that worked great. Let's go ahead and try it again. I'm going to use my thumb. No problems. Let's lock it again. This time we're going to use the keychain, the RFID tag, and it unlocked without a problem. Let's go ahead and lock it again. Now I'm going to use a code. I've programmed a code into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pound is the enter key, and it unlocked. It works really well. So what are my final thoughts of the lock? I really like it. I love the fact that I can program my fingerprints to the door. I keep my shop locked all the time around the house, and it's just so easy for me to walk up to the door, use my finger, and the door unlocks. That being said, I also have auto locking enabled, which means after 30 seconds, the lock automatically locks. There are a lot of features jam-packed into the software. Too many for me to even mention in this video. A few that I thought was really cool was you could set up temporary pin codes, you could make those pin codes expire, and you could even schedule pin codes. So if you had somebody, maybe a cleaner, who came over during certain hours of the day and left, well, you could let that code only work during those hours. That way, when the cleaner shouldn't be here, the cleaner doesn't have access to whatever you don't want them to have access to. I also really like that the Wi-Fi feature is built into the lock. It's not a hub, it's not something you have to have separate, it's all just built into the lock. Having an AKAGear lock before, and knowing how well it was built, I have a lot of confidence that this lock is pretty much going to last as long as you need it. If you like these types of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take a look at some of my other videos. At the very least, you might be entertained.